And in my nonprofit leadership lab, we have about 6,000 active members, and many of them have just started a nonprofit organization. When I was at MTV, I worked for a founder, and I now too am a founder of this online community with resources and moral support. And so it is very clear to me that clarity of vision is essential. So make sure that your vision of what you hope, how the world will be different as a result of the work you do, is crystal clear to you.
Welcome to A Founder's Life. I'm your host, Leo Gestetner. And on this show, we dive into the real stories behind the highs and lows of entrepreneurship and how we pursue a more balanced and meaningful life along the way. This podcast is sponsored by Thankz, helping founders like us scale with reliable remote teams. Email founders@thankz.com, that's THANKZ.com, with the subject line, A Founder's Life, and you get $1,000 off your first month. Now, I'm excited today to be joined by Joan Garry. Joan, can you introduce yourself to the audience, please?
So I have a bit of an interesting background. Today, technically, I'm an executive coach for leaders of larger nonprofits. I am a successful blogger and podcaster. I have a book called Joan Garry's Guide to Nonprofit Leadership. And in 2018, I founded an online membership site for board and staff leaders of small to mid-sized nonprofits called the Nonprofit Leadership Lab. That's what I do. But I think it's more importantly is what that's in the service of. And for me, I fancy myself a advocate and champion for the nonprofit sector and the remarkable leaders who go to work every day to do what I think is the hardest work there is, which is to make the world more fair, more just, and more beautiful.
Excellent. Seems like you got a good mission. What led you to where you are today? Tell us a little bit. Pick one of the things you're doing and tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, one of the things that's led me to where I am today, and certainly I am in a place in my professional career I would not have predicted, that I think to myself, who'd have thought that a kid out of college who landed on the management team that launched MTV would become a gay rights activist and then an evangelist for the nonprofit sector. It's not something I would have predicted, but I think that professional journeys are rarely linear. And so I also think that if you're listening super carefully to yourself, you'll hear a voice that points you in the direction of making a difference. That I really believe that everyone wants to matter. And so my professional career is a combination of entrepreneurialism, spend time at the management team launching MTV, and you'll learn a lot about startups, carrying that through my career, and also the voice inside my head that says, make a difference, getting louder and louder and louder. So one of the things that's very interesting about entrepreneurship and startups, as you talk to your guests all the time, Leo, is that startups and nonprofits have very, very similar gestalts. High energy, under the gun, always looking for resources, and people quite committed to getting the thing going, getting the thing off the ground. And I found myself remarkably at home in the nonprofit sector when I ran a gay rights organization because I found the gestalt to be very, very familiar.
And how about what does family mean to you?
So family looks like Irish Catholic, Long Island, 3 older brothers, youngest, but that would sell short what family really is for me. Because I, as an openly gay person in the 1970s and 80s, never felt like I would have a family of my own. So it is something that I never, ever take for granted. And my wife and I intentionally chose to have a family. She did all the birthing and I did all the catching. And we have 3 kids. The oldest is 35. And became the first kid legally in the state of New Jersey to have 2 moms, whether she likes it or not, and twins who are 30, a boy and a girl. And I feel an enormous sense of gratitude to the universe and to activists who came before me, to the work that we did at GLAAD, that being a family and having children was not off the table for me. And I will say that on my first date with my wife 43 years ago, She said, "I really want to have children." And this was 1981 when LGBT people didn't actually they didn't actually create families. She said, "I really want to have children, so if you are not interested in having a family, you might be fun for a while, but you're probably not a keeper." Turned out, I thought to myself, "Oh my gosh, I always really wanted to have kids, but I didn't think that was going to be an option." So here we are, many years later, and we have kids who are adults.
Lovely. And what does health mean to you, whether that be physical health, mental health, nutrition, sleep? How does health look?
So I am 67 years old, and I care a lot more about my health than I probably did 20 or 30 years ago. And so it's quite front and center for me. It's also very front and center for me because I have a genetic lung disorder in which my body does not actually create the protein that protects my lungs. And so I have that protein. I do an augmentation therapy that infuses me with that protein every other week. So when I was diagnosed with this, I became quite vigilant about living my life to the fullest, making sure that I spent as much time uh, um, traveling and having adventures and spending time with people I love. And I also learned a lot about longevity. And I work out twice a week with a trainer that is focused on issues of longevity. So endurance, grip, strength. We jokingly refer to it as keep moving so you don't fall down. But if you do fall down, you can get yourself back up. Turns out, by the way, that some massive percentage of people over the age of 40 never spend any time on the floor. And so when they fall, they can't get up. Health also to me means doing things that I enjoy that are not work related. And so at the age of 60, I learned that an excellent way to keep your mind active is to take up a musical instrument. And so I'm a little strategic in this way. So I decided to learn how to play the piano. So I have tonight, like every Tuesday night, I have a piano lesson. And I wanted to pick up a sport that was fun, that didn't involve a ton of people. And so I am a walking stereotype for a baby boomer in her 60s, and I enjoy playing pickleball, which I do pretty regularly. So there's sort of a whole package for me that looks at my health, A, through the lens of my illness, but has caused me the sort of what challenging things make possible, Michael Hyatt would say. And it has caused me to really think differently about how I live my life and the things that I do to make sure that I'm going to be able to squeeze every little bit of juice out of my life for as long as I'm given the opportunity.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in health span versus longevity, which really is what you're talking about, which is, how do you keep healthy until you die? Like don't have no particular interest to live to 120 or 150, but I want to be healthy until I die. I want to be able to move. I want to be able to keep my mind active,
I'm a
you know,
Dr. Peter Attia is an amazing person who is all about longevity, and he wrote a book called Outlive. Yeah, and that's what it is all about. It's all about what are the things that you do to live the best quality life for as long as you're given. So, for example, really interesting statistic, people who live very long lives have super strong grips. I jokingly say the reason that is their grips are strong enough so they can catch themselves before they fall down and break their hips, but I don't know for sure.
and what do you like to do for fun?
Yeah, I think I really enjoy my kids who are adults, and so I have a house at the shore and in New Jersey, and being 7 blocks from the ocean, sitting by the ocean clears my head. So I'm a big fan of sitting at the beach late in the afternoon with a good book. I am an avid reader. I think I mentioned I play the piano. It's a practice. I'm not really any good at it, Leo. It's a practice, just like yoga. And the other thing that's really wonderful about having a house at the shore is you get to invite people to come and be with you and enjoy it. And so that's another piece of living a good, healthy, long life is social connections. And so we have friends and family who visit us at the shore. I actually have started to learn how to cook, which has sort of been a interesting thing, especially given that perhaps it's in reaction to the fact that my mother was not a very good cook. And I did think I mentioned pickleball. And while I am competitive, pickleball is actually a fun game and quite collegial. So that's, I guess that's what I would say. I think I have a pretty broad range of things that I do for fun.
And what's been a pivotal moment in your life?
Ooh, do I have to pick just one?
Ideally.
Yeah, maybe I'll pick one. Maybe I'll pick just a couple. One's short. Meeting my wife in 1981, I was at MTV and she was at Nickelodeon. And we have been together for 43 years. And our relationship works because I believe that she has brought out the best in me and I in her. The birth of my first child, Scout, was a pivotal moment for me. It's like, okay, I am now a parent. So that means I am an advocate. I am going to be an advocate for my kids every day, all day, and twice on Sunday. That's what led me to become a gay rights activist, to make sure the world treated our kids well. And I feel a tremendous amount of satisfaction, reward in knowing that my career at GLAAD, the gay rights organization that I led, really did begin to change hearts and minds. It was focused on the media and how the lives of LGBT people are portrayed in the media. And then I think the last one, which is connected to that one, is our court case, when we had our eldest child, there was no federal legal marriage. And so I was a legal stranger to our kids. I did all the catching, but Eileen did all the birthing. That was kind of the deal. And so we filed a lawsuit in the state of New Jersey, and I became the first person in the state of New Jersey to legally adopt my partner's biological kids, or if you will, my own kids. And I will remember always that I did not think it was a big deal. I thought it was just something that we were doing for our family until it appeared on the front page of the New York Times and most of the metropolitan area newspapers. And I realized at that moment that one person can make a difference, that my entertainment career was about to be in the rearview mirror, and that I was going to go find a world I could live in where I could make a living doing something that mattered, something where I could advocate for my kids, where I could help to make the world more fair and just. And I did that for 10 years at GLAAD. And I have been since that time coaching and what I call helping the helpers ever since, in an effort to advocate and champion for the vital role that the nonprofit sector plays in our society.
And what's one piece of advice that you'd give to an aspiring entrepreneur?
So I offer advice to entrepreneurs and founders pretty regularly, Leo. And in my nonprofit leadership lab, we have about 6,000 active members, and many of them have just started a nonprofit organization. When I was at MTV, I worked for a founder, and I now too am a founder of this online community with resources and moral support. And so it is very clear to me that clarity of vision is essential. So make sure that your vision of what you hope, how the world will be different as a result of the work you do, is crystal clear to you. That's one piece of advice. The second thing I would say is surround yourself with people who have diverse skills and diverse points of view. Far too often, an entrepreneur or a founder is pretty charismatic and mighty persuasive, and they tend to surround themselves with friends and family who are picking up what they're putting down, who are ready to follow. And what I say to entrepreneurs and founders all the time is you want people to lead with you, right? You want people who will say no to you or say not yet. And if you do that, the vision and the execution of that vision will be all the richer.
Absolutely love that. That's great advice.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today. And how can people find you?
All things Joan at joangarry.com, GAOANGARRY.com. You'll find my blog, my podcast, how to find my book, and learn more about our online membership community. So encourage you to take a look. You can subscribe to our blog. It's free, pretty story-based, sense of humor, and takes advantage of both my private and public sector expertise. So check it out.
Thank you. And thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, and leave a review.